Welcome to Theology Savage on Wednesday of Holy Week. There is not too many events recorded in the scriptures, just two, and they take place in the evening. One is Jesus is anointed as he has dinner. His body is anointed, and he's anointed with a family heirloom of sorts, something that was worth 300 denarii, the scriptures say, which would have been about a year's wages. And this is the third time that Jesus is anointed. The first two times, the first time was probably 2 years before this. He was in the home of Simon, who was a Pharisee, one of the religious leaders, and a woman comes up to Jesus, and they used to have dinner kind of on their sides, lying down on their sides near the table with their head, and their feet would be directly out from the table. And this woman anoints Jesus' feet and is washing his feet with her hair and her tears. And she loves Jesus, and the Pharisee says, hey, this woman's a sinner, this guy was a prophet, he would know this guy, he's railing on the woman and Jesus. And of course Jesus rebukes him big time. But what's happening is Jesus' feet are seen as beautiful to this woman, and then also to Mary, who anoints Jesus' feet a few years later, and then even this woman anoints his body. And the reality is that they're anointing his feet because his feet, the prophet Isaiah says, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news, who speak of God's peace and God's salvation, and who say the Lord reigns. And the thing that is good news about that is that Jesus is God, and he is reigning, but he's coming very humbly to associate with sinners. He's at the home of Simon, a leper, in one of the last days of his life, someone who would have been considered unclean by the religious elite and who would not have associated with him, and yet here Jesus is. And even his own disciples are rebuking this woman for what they perceive to be a waste of money. And Jesus rebukes them and says she has done a good thing. She has anointed his body for burial. And that causes Judas, one of the disciples, to get pretty bent out of shape, and he immediately goes away to consult with the religious leaders to how he can betray Jesus. You see, Judas was all about money. He used to steal from the money bag, and he agrees to betray Jesus for money. And it's very telling, because that was the most important thing for Judas, was prestige, money, a platform that he hoped the Messiah would bring when he entered Jerusalem. And so Judas actually gets that Jesus isn't coming to reign as the earthly king, but he's coming to suffer and to die, and really wants nothing to do with that. And so he wants to get the money and betray Jesus. And those two events are very telling of the different perspectives on what good is and who God is. Be blessed.